Hola, everybody. Good morning. Cheers. Cheerio. Would you look at that? The stock market's down big. Down bad. Who would have thought? Oh, hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome back. Good morning, everybody. Again, pretty. We'll get started here in just a second. I'm just going to send an email. Obviously, the market is in a selling operation. As you can see, the market has a huge gap down today. This is exactly what we talked about a couple days ago. So yeah, pretty much you're in a neutral bearish state. You're not supposed to be long bias the market unless you're just doing, simple intraday bounces, long counter trend trades, things like that. So yeah. 1 second. I am still trying to send this email, but I have like 7,000 tabs open, so I'm kind of losing where I'm supposed to be. What I'm doing. Share, copy, cool. Well, that's all taken care of. So good morning. I know, like I said, still trying to kind of figure out the schedule for streaming. I mean, obviously our thumbnail says we'll be on at 9, but I started streaming at like 7:30, so that's not right. But, what are you going to do? So, yeah. Obviously, if we look at the news today, it's all going to be really, really bearish. So there's really no point. We already know what that's going to say. Probably be like, I don't know, probably like something the AI bubble is bursting, or I don't know, Trump's a bad man. Who knows, right? But yeah, anyways, market's down today, pretty bad. Bitcoin's down to 104,000. Pretty pretty expected. All right, we already knew this, was supposed to happen. So Bitcoin's going down as expected. We're just gonna stay bearish on Bitcoin for the time being, in like the general sense, long term sense. We're just gonna be bearish. Um, and then the market is just neutral to bearish. So we'll go back long the market when it's time. It's just not time right now. So yeah. Feel free to ask questions, but I know you guys are all, probably market makers on the stock market, or like, work on Wall Street or something, so you probably don't have a whole lot of questions. So we've taken that out. This is a bounce trade I'd like. I haven't checked this setup this morning, but if it already it might have already happened. It might not have happened. I don't know, but we'll see. But it might have already happened. It probably already happened. Yep, there it is. So that trade's done. So here's a trade for you guys, the two of you, the three of you. You can remember this one. This is, in a sense, it's always a setup I look for. But let me teach it to you. And actually, the way I did that's kind of inaccurate to a degree. But so this is, here's a strategy I'll teach you guys real quick. So we're focused. That circle's really big. We're not focused there. I'll just draw an arrow. So obviously you guys know market goes positive here. So we just missed a potential trade setup this morning there. Not that it can't, it just, never mind. That's on my brain. It's just too fast. So anyways, here we go. Market's positive, goes into an uptrend. Something you can do is just use anchor VWAPs, and you can use the lower distribution of them. So like we'll anchor to this candle here. All right, so essentially it's the same thing as anchoring to a low of the move kind of, but ideally what I'm looking for is where did the market go positive? The market goes positive over the 50 SMA, but some of those first moving averages before it went positive would be like the 10 and the 9, and they're going to be like right in this area. So anyways, we're just pretty much anchoring to the start of this long move that ended up turning into what, a really good breakout and a buy signal. Okay, so if we just follow this path, right? So we'll start down here. Market goes positive, we start throwing anchors on the low. All right, the market's over the 50 SMA. All right, so when the market's over the 50 SMA, just imagine you walked into the stream and it was that day. Hey guys, market's positive. You're not supposed to be short biased. We're just going to watch the markets long. We'll go short when the market says to go short. When's that? When it breaks down the 50 SMA. So we keep going, and then I'm like, hey guys, by the way, we should be anchoring VWAPs to this low, because we can also use this VWAP as a support trend and a kind of a breakdown trend as well. But anyways, continue. Oh, the market gaps up again. That's crazy because it's in a buy signal. All right, so don't be bearish. We're going to stay long the markets until either the VIX tells us to be short or the market breaks down. Okay. Market continues up. That's crazy. Makes sense. We're in a buy signal. Okay. All right. So anyways, keeps going, blah, blah, blah. And then it does what? And then it gets some weakness. It pulls down to the 50 SMA. As it's coming down to the 50, hey guys, be careful. We're coming down to the 50 SMA. If the market wants to break down, it can. And if it wants to use this 50 SMA as support and hold up for the time being, it can. We will go bearish the market when we fully break down the SMA. All right, we're going to continue. Oh, there we start to break down the SMA a little bit. So, hey guys, the market has broken down the 50 SMA. We're in a neutral to bearish state. If you want to be aggressive, you can bet short. When you're betting short, you're betting against the United States economy. Historically, if you go back and look at many charts, just in general, historically speaking, the market goes up more than it goes down. It also goes up for longer periods of time than it goes down. So we already know that your position is always more favorable on the long side in terms of winning opportunity, whether in stride or in percentage return. All right. But if you want to bet bearish, you're more than welcome to do that. It's more of an aggressive play because, as we've just discussed, the odds are just not in your favor historically. That being said, we're in a neutral to bearish state as the market comes down below the 50 SMA. If the markets cannot recover the 50 SMA, we're still in a neutral to bearish state. You can trade long, but you're trading bounces in a bearish trend, okay? Now, we can also follow the VWAP as a potential bouncing kind of tradable support area. Bounce, little below bounce, little at bounce, either way. If in the event we do not get over the 50 SMA, we're still in a neutral to bearish market. The VWAP is more of this volume zone, if you will. All right, so when the VWAP breaks down and the sell signal commences, a lot of times what's going to happen, right? So we go into a buy move. Market pulls back. Market breaks down. Stays below the 50 SMA, but it hasn't yet broken down the VWAP of the previous buy signal. So this is the buy signal, the last one. It started back here. The VWAP of it is right where I'm just doing these loops. That's the VWAP. So you have trend goes bearish, but still holding VWAP trend from back here. Market cannot reclaim SMA trend, so you're still in a neutral to bearish momentum environment. Then what happens? It breaks VWAP. Where does it go? It goes to lower distribution, and now we're bouncing lower distribution. So that was a lot to take in. The the simplest thing I can always say is just whenever you go into a buy signal, we take VWAPs and we anchor them. We use that as a support. And we also look at the lower distribution of that VWAP, and that comes into play when the main one breaks down. So it's the same thing as running a normal VWAP band, if you will. You're just in control of where you start them and the definition and meaning behind them, if you will. So we kind of missed a little bit of a long trade there, but at this point, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. I'm neutral to bearish the market as far as bias. But since we have this major gap down and the gap down already went to the lower distribution, that would be a trade, right? A breakdown of the VWAP to there. Granted, that move happens a lot of times through the after-hour session. They don't allow you to trade that one many times. But anyways, we pretty much just hit lower distribution support here. So markets are just kind of doing a little bit of a counter trend bounce for the time being. And yeah, so no real big thoughts other than that for the moment. So there it is, right? You can, so if you guys, so now that we're kind of into an extended trading hours view, you can see that, right? So we were in a long move. Then the SMA trend broke down. We went to VWAP. We tried to hold the VWAP trend, couldn't. Basically created like a descending pattern there, if you will. And we use the VWAP, and then it breaks down. And then it goes to the lower distribution of that previous buy move. And now we're here. So that's an oversold counter trend bounce, but we're still bearish. Right? It bearish as far as the trend goes. Sorry, yeah. So we're still in a neutral to bearish state, you know. But yeah. So we're not looking at longs on the market unless the only, yeah. I mean, it's just counter trend bounces into a neutral bearish market. Wow, chat room is popping today here on YouTube. Really love the comments. Really love the chat room interaction. Love you guys. Bitcoin's going down. I mean, I wish I was shocked, but again, you know, it's going to be painful when we're all the way down on 50,000. I really hope I'm wrong. Man, it would be great to be wrong about this one, but I don't know, guys. I don't know. Haven't been wrong yet. Well, I have been wrong many times, just not on this one yet. Well, I have in the past, but as far as this whole analysis goes, we've been dead nut. So I really hope I'm wrong. But also I really hope I'm not wrong, because that would also be good for me going forward. So it's a party in here. Thanks, Greg Morehouse at 285. Appreciate you, Holmes. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah. So, actually, what's on the economic calendar today? Speaking of that, Don't like trading economics. I used to, but no. Why did I do that? What is it? Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday, right? Yeah. Fed Vice Chair for Supervision, Michelle Bowman. U.S. trade deficit, factory orders, and job openings. Pretty much doesn't matter. That's not going to be of a big concern. Any thoughts on PLTR? Hold on. I had to go to a different chart for a PLTR analysis. All right, so we're going to pop up PLTR here. PLTR is looking at statistical trend, standard deviation. You are fairly priced. The market is not overvalued on the 1 year fluctuation, if you will. So I'll just stay it the way it is. The 1 year standard deviation is pretty much balanced. You're trading right at the long-term historical mean. Well, that's not true. You're trading 0.5 standard deviation right now is the way I'd read that. Which means you're halfway in between 0 and halfway from 0 to +1, essentially. You're right in the midway point of this, right there I'm drawing. So right there, you're in the midway point of 1 and 0, which basically just means, in statistical terms, you would be just that. You're 0.5 deviations above historical average over the last 1 year. Now, if I change this time frame, of course, I would change, can change dramatically. So if I go to a 3 year, right? So over the past 3 years, you'd be trading +1, which is overbought on a 3 year perspective. But generally speaking, most banks, hedge funds, traders, analysts, people do look out longer than 1 year. But if you really think about, a lot of discussion within banks and just anywhere really, a lot of people aren't looking out too much further than a year a lot of times. And what I mean is it can be pretty challenging to foresee out many, many, many years because a lot of things can change within that time frame. It's kind of hard for like earth-shattering things to change within a company within a year. You know what I mean? They can. Don't get me wrong. We all saw what was that one company, WeWork or whatever. Yeah, I remember that. But you know what I mean? Like if you take a relatively established company and not some just like new hot topic on the market that's not established, it's really hard to kill a business model in a year, right? So, but over 10 years, 10 years Microsoft, maybe all of a sudden there's a new Xbox, a competitor to Xbox, and like no one buys Xboxes anymore. Like that could happen in 10 years, right? Like digital VR, whatever could happen, and maybe Microsoft's behind the loop. That could happen in 10 years. But, like, is that going to happen this year, in 1 year, totally disrupted? And, probably not. So, a lot of times you're looking at 1 year things. And so that's why we always kind of follow 1 year standard deviation. So, over the last year, you've had a nice run. You're not super overbought on PLTR. You're not in a euphoric state on PLTR. So, this is not something that is, catching mainstream media attention in a way that's driving it to a euphoric, statistically overbought price where you should be taking profit. If we were to look at like silver is something that's had just went a little more euphoric than PLTR realistically. Though PLTR maybe have gone up more, the velocity is right. So if you look at PLTR here over the last 1 year, it's pretty consistent, right? It's fluctuated in between 1 and -1. If you look at silver, this is actually, this system does repaint, right? So it's what is the velocity in real time. So a couple weeks back, this high that I just put a line on, that was actually touching the green line, essentially. So it's adjusted a little bit. But the velocity of silver has been greater than the velocity of PLTR recently, right? So if you had asked me, say, like a couple weeks ago on silver, like, what do you think of silver? I'm like, well, actually, silver is a little overbought now because it's coming into the +2 standard deviation over the last year. So velocity is ramped up in a way that it's driven the price 2 standard deviations away from its 1-year historical average, right? Good morning, sir. I can't really pronounce that name, but good morning. So PLTR. If you ask me, as far as standard deviation goes, it's fine. But the real question you ask yourself too is the next question is trend. What's your trend look like? Trend is super simple because it really is just simple. Trend always comes down to one SMA, and that's going to be the 50. Not that other SMAs aren't important, but this is pretty much the one SMA to rule all. All right, so the 50 SMA here, we know that PLTR went into a short-term swing trading trend on, what day was that? I don't know, Thursday, whenever this was, a couple weeks back. So the market on PLTR has been putting on gains because in its short term, so I like to think of this as the short-term manipulation swing SMA. Pretty much if the market's over this, the likelihood of going up is higher. So we're in a long move on PLTR right now, right? If we look at any of the other stuff here, I'm just going to flip through it on this one. We'll go to a 1 year, or let's do a 1 year week. So the 1 year week is positive, so you're into a long-term uptrend. The daily's positive, so there's no trend right now that is negative on PLTR that is concerning. Just isn't. Can that change? Obviously, but right now there's really zero concern for PLTR. The 30 minutes positive, that's good. Everything is just a pullback on PLTR right now unless it goes below this 30 minute. If it starts to break the 30 minute, then you can start seeing things like this. Like see right back here? See how it dumped below that SMA? And so you're not going to see any of that unless it's below the SMA. You can see dumps down to the SMA, but that's it. Until it goes below, it's not what I call the two-step Magoo. It's not a corrective pullback unless you're below the SMA. It's just a dip, right? So PLTR is fine. The only time you really got to be concerned about your stocks typically, as far as like losing or them going down, is if they have been bought up so euphorically that they have to correct off the high momentum and have a drastic pullback, or their long-term trend shifts negative, and then that becomes a problem. But if you look at the weekly chart, and the weekly is always pretty much what I follow, the 1 year week. The 1 year week is positive, right? Same thing for the stock market. The stock market never has any serious market corrections unless for sure it goes below the 1 year weekly time frame. Now, the 1 year week is not going to necessarily, let me see if we'll just use this one. This was the last one, right? So you can see we pulled back, and then once you go below the weekly, then you have a serious move, right? So that's what I mean is you don't see drastic market corrections pretty much on any stock unless they really go below that 1 year week, and it allows that longer term trend to commence and come into effect. So PLTR, you're fine. Again, I don't look at fundamentals. I can, but I don't. And that's not entirely true. Sometimes I do look at things, but it's never in terms of the trading sense. It's just never an area I got involved in. I do know about balance sheets. I do know about it. But if you ask me to read through a balance sheet quickly and give you, a forecast and summary of their business model and how much they're going to grow in the future, I couldn't do it very quickly. That's something that would probably take me days to put together if I really tried. I could probably come up with my own ideas, right? But it's just not something I do. Am I capable? Yeah, everyone's capable. It's just not an area I've ever gotten into. So I've always just kind of stuck to more of the technical side of things, and I've enjoyed it. I run, I nowadays have 4 properties. I have 4 properties, 3 of which are, soon to be rentals, 2 of which are. Anyways, so I do all the finances for all those, right? So each rental property has its own set of books and finances that I track and I keep and I manage, right? So, for example, right? Like I said, I could go and I could look at the financial statements of different companies and I could build my own assumptions, and part of what's helped to learn those things is by running your own rental properties, right? And you have to track your finances, your expenses, your income, your loss, your gain, etc., right? At the end of the year, you're making up the financial reports and sending them to accountants, right? So I do that. But as far as, diving into a company and really knowing it, again, it's just not something I do personally. All right, cool. So what time is it? It is 8:09. 8:09. Yeah, so we're going to get off that. Actually, we're going to stay on this real quick. Yeah, man, there's a lot to it. The whole financial game, if you will, the financial pyramid. I need to pull this down. All right, so I'm not going to say there's no good penny stocks to trade today, but there's probably not, because that's usually how it goes when the market's in a sell move. When the market's in a sell signal, usually penny stocks don't perform as well, or you're more likely to see the pump and the dump, right, as opposed to the pump and the run, right, because liquidity is moving the market, or liquidity is going out of the markets today. So far, there's not really any plausible candidate. There was a couple earnings that popped up or whatever, and it's not totally true. I have seen some good runs even on sell signals, but they're just not as often. DENN, that looks like garbage. Actually, this one kind of looks interesting. I'll have to keep an eye on that one. It's a little above. See, that's either. Kind of late for the low risk dippy, but that might have a chance. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep tabs on this one throughout the day. It's kind of one of those ones you would just basically have to buy it and hope it just goes up. You're not on support, so your risk would be back down, and so it's. I don't know. See, this is it. This is one of them. This would be an uptrend start over the yellow. Wait, did I do that right? Actually, hold on. Yeah, that is right. And there, yeah. So this is kind of one that I'm not putting a whole lot of emphasis on, but this one started an uptrend. Then it pretty much back tested a little below, but that would be start of an uptrend. Then this would arguably be the back test, even though it kind of missed. So this isn't cooperating the best, but it's still over. So it's still positive on trend, right? So unless this is below 639, this has potential to basically go up. That also means the risk right now is you have an 8% risk essentially back to support. So you have 8% risk for however much potential upside. I don't know. I don't make the rules, but I just know that the risk on that is about 8% right now. That's not terrible. So that is something that I might peek around on for the day. There was one other one, I think. Yeah, anyways, I don't know. Yep. Ah, man. Where is... Whoa, that ain't right. Hold on. Gonna pull up some stuff here. Wait a second. Man, did you just work already, computer? I don't know. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to log into something, but clearly don't remember my. Ah, that's why. I was like adding one character incorrectly. What? How is it even possible? I literally was just in this last night. Bruh, I'm so confused. Yeah, okay. Whatever you say. Oh boy. Okay. That's silly. Oh, I understand now. Sorry, y'all. I will get there. I'll stop just mumbling to myself here in a second. 9, 5, 6, 9. Yay. Yippee. All right, sorry guys, I'm back here. Sorry about that lame past 10 minutes. Okay, let's go look at the market. Again, I haven't really thought too hard about what I expect to happen, but obviously, let's take a little peek here. Whoa, so that's already tested. Yep. So yeah, current pullback. I mean, we've already pulled it back once. We're gonna do it twice. That's a pre-market VWAP level. No GPs and no while we pretty much, yeah, I mean, I basically, yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe we'll hit that 30-minute volume weighted average price there. I mean, it's it's kind of what I'm following right now. We've already done it essentially, but there's a bunch of rules to it. But we already hit our 30-minute VWAP level once. Means if we basically roll back over, that's going to be one of our first targets, if not back down to all that good jam down there.
Order filled.
Well, in the meantime, again, it's kind of, and we're just in a neutral to bearish state. However you guys want to trade that, feel free. I don't really, again, I'm kind of just hanging out. In the meantime, we'll have a little snapshot of some of my longer term portfolios. So this will be the last 1 year, or wait, yeah, it says there, yeah, 1 year, maybe scooted over, I don't know. See, I took this little screenshot snippet of my account, so this is more my longer term portfolio in equities, all through our company. Where's my cursor? There it is, wait, there it is. Oh, well, yeah, so trading limit liability company. So 2 401ks, all tax purposes there, really. So, total 171, cool. Return 19%. I think that was actually not beating the market about a week ago. It might be beating it now, but I think the market was up like some 20% or 22%. I forget, but yeah, so cumulative, it looks like we're about 19 between the two. Non-classified, there's gold, silver, bonds. Short-term high is going to be more stocks, large cap blend, and I got a little bit of cash in there, not ton, so mainly invested in large cap growth. So I have a lot of money. So a lot of the performance of this year's portfolio gain came from gold, silver, which, because it just crushed it, right? So a lot of my return came from that side of the playing field. That's pretty much it. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking at a couple other things. Let's see. This was weird. Oh, I see. All right. Market's just pulling back again. Kind of expect that we pull back down to about this green box and or these yellow lines on the downside there. So that's all working out pretty decent there.
Order filled.
Sorry about that. I was just looking through some things. Yeah, so market's rolling down pretty decent there. Then it's kind of to be expected that markets would go down a bit. Here we'll do a quick overview of the rental portfolio or real estate portfolio, if you will. So this is a combined view of all properties. So hasn't been a great year with some of the remodels and rehab I've been doing, but that's to be, that just happens, right? So kind of had a bad negative, averaging negative $3,000 a month for the past trailing 12 months as I've done this big remodel and basically paid mortgages myself and blah blah blah. So it hasn't been a fun 12 months, but we're about coming around, and this is all about to stabilize again or stabilize once again. So this is about these numbers should turn extremely well here probably in the next couple months, I'd imagine. I mean, you can even see back here, I mean, My trailing 12 month in December was negative 34%, right? Like, that's great. Now we've crept back to about break even there for the past trailing 12 months on my real estate portfolio. So as we take one that we've been rehabbing for the second time and get it back rented, and then the one we're in now is going to go rent, and that's 100% cash flow because it's a debt-free house. It should be booming pretty soon here on this back booming on this portfolio. So had a rough couple basically a year, pretty much since last December. It's been a little rough on that front, but it's good. You can go into properties here. So these are all the 4 properties I got in the area: 3 in the Novi, 1 in the Walled Lake. Equity positions. This is the one that's debt free. So like I said, that'll be 100% cash flow property. So that's where I'm sitting right now. Actually, I'm sitting in the office of this one here, the 1740. So that one is going to be done soon, and then we're going to be over here on this guy. So yeah, I'll update you guys on that as needed. All right. Yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say, right? Market's in a neutral to bearish state. Bitcoin's going down. The entire world's probably crying right now. Ah, yummy, yummy. Let's go to, I don't know why these numbers are so out of whack, but they are. So weird. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Don't get it. Don't get it. Where's first return? All right, short-term pullback target for market. I'd say it's kind of complete. I don't care if it goes further. Maybe it does, but just in the moment, could pretty much foresee that as an opportunity, right? We would re-roll the markets down to the green and then back to the yellows. So if you had a trade on there, cool. Thumbs up to you. Oh boy. About being tired. Like I said, still trying to. We are live, I think, Josh. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out our streaming hours. I haven't really figured that one out. So I'll probably be hopping off here right about, I don't know, 9 or 9:30, maybe about 9:30. Streaming on our private side. I don't know. I'm still figuring that all out. When I figure it out comfortably, I'll let you guys know. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a gap and go today. Probably gonna have, I don't know, we'll see. But I would admit, I don't know if it's gonna be a gap and go day. It just doesn't feel like a gap and go. I'm never a one for trying to do gap and go trading days on lower distributions like this. So I don't know. I was to say the likelihood that we have a gap and go, or even a gap pullback and go. Yeah, gap and go just does not seem likely. Maybe a gap and attempt to go and then get stuffed for Magoo, like a double stuffed Oreo. That's probably gonna happen. That would make sense. Hit him with the old 2-step double stuffed Oreo. Yeah, I like that. Good morning, Josh. Good morning, Greg, and Kat, and Greg, and Steve. To the 4 of you. Appreciate you, boys. Bitcoin portfolio is not doing well this morning. Not doing well. I think I'm gonna have to call it quits. Gonna have to sell everything. I'm just gonna have to do it. Gonna have to just sell it all. Just gonna have to just buckle up and just sell it all. No clue why it's going down. I'm just panicking right now. Just the ultimate fear. Yeah, I mean, only lost like $4,000 overnight, so that's cool. Nice. But then again, it's all fake, anyways. Green dollars, digital dollars, the euro, the yen. It's all just paper, fake. It's just a means to. It's just a means to move through the world with one another while we rent planet Earth, I guess. Good morning, the staff. Good morning, Steph Curry. So happy that you cared to join us here on this stream. What an honor it is to have someone of your social status hanging out in our little YouTube stream. Give it up for Steph Curry, everyone. Give it up. Do 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 do. Speaking of, we should actually take a look at the standard deviation on the market. That's another good idea. Let's see. Standard deviation or Google. What am I doing? I don't know. Spy. Oh, the market's going down. I'm so confused. So, market's still not even. Oh, well, no, I guess it is. Yeah. Just got to the mean there. 1 year day. Oh, yeah, that makes more sense now. Yeah, you can see the market has made it to +1 standard deviation. I should have, actually, if I would have known that, I would have been a little more bearish over the past couple days. And that's not entirely true because I've seen it ride +1 a couple times for a long time. But anyways, yeah, I mean, if we do a mean reversion, markets are going to be looking towards like 649. What are we at right now? 675, 649. So 649 would be all the way down there. It would be nice to have a mean reversion. It's been a long time. So I have no idea because, again, the market follows the SMA trend. Like, could we go all the way down to here? Sure. But if the market goes into a buy signal, then I'm going to be going long, regardless of wanting to go there. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter. I mean, we will go to, the mean at some point. Just how we get there is always the unknown. Because the market could go through, 2 buy signals on the way down there anyways. Well, let's take a look at the volatility index, but obviously the volatility index should basically just be up, right? So there's a huge gap up on the volatility index. Volatility index is still in an uptrend, still positive, so, which obviously, but if we look at, that's there, that's far away. How about the 5 minute? 5 minutes far away. 1 minute, 1 minute's far away. We're all the way in the 20s, so there shouldn't be any long-term stuff we're running into. It wouldn't make sense. Well, there could be longer-term 200 series, but no. Yeah, so pretty much. Oh, that's a weekly. Oh, nice. Sorry. Now that is what I was looking for. Now that makes more sense. Bitcoin long bearish started. Hello, Medi. Steph, no worries, brother. Don't worry. I've blown far more accounts than probably, you could count. Well, that's not true. I'm sure you could count. as many as I've blown, but that's okay. I mean, it's literally just a part of the game. Um, I've done top step accounts and still blown top step accounts and past top. So, I mean, it's like, you should really, I mean, trading's one thing, but as you can see, like I just went through, like this morning, I went through a pretty good full scope. Like I have a lot of real estate. I have a lot of long-term accounts. I have a few short-term accounts, right? So really the goal is that you don't bank on any of your short-term stuff. You build your financial pyramid. You have a strong foundation, and then you can dabble with trading. That's pretty much the way I see trading these days. When I was younger, 20, I thought, yeah, you could really get rich trading, which I did actually get kind of rich trading for a hot second, and then I did end up losing a lot of that money. So it's like you can, not easy. And in my shoes, I it did come. I don't want to say it came easy, but in my shoes, I experienced the it can go as easy as it comes, if you will. That's kind of was my experience in the market, going from 20 to being 32 now. So I just can't really advertise or promote the industry the way that I used to, because my mindset and my expectations have changed based off of the realities that I have witnessed and experienced myself, which is just that. Traded, made money, lost a lot of the money that I made trading. So then I realized for me, going forward, it would be less of a, foot on the gas pedal kind of thing, try to just crush it, make tons of money, to more of just financial stability and how I work trading into an overall financial goal. So I really can't promote day trading, to that degree. It's more of I promote it if you're already someone who is in the market, right? If you're already in the market, if you're already trading, you've already kind of been there, done that a little bit, then I'm not going to stop you, right? But I would never like go to a friend of mine and be like, yeah, get into day trading. Never. I don't tell strangers that, though a lot of our videos may be geared towards that because that's just what I've done for so long myself, right? But yeah, so as far as trading goes, right, you blow account, right, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of you. For a moment, I did think it was the end of me. That was a very soul-crushing moment, and that's why I would never wish it upon anyone. I had extreme depression, and and when I say extreme depression, I mean, like, not that I couldn't do day-to-day stuff. I still was, but the mental beatdown of losing a lot of money trading sucked. Especially after winning it, right? Thinking like you're on top of the world. So I got the wrath of, crushing it to not crushing it. So my perspective on the market's changed drastically over the years. So that's just why I can't promote it the way I used to, which is fine. Actually, I'm far more, I feel better actually nowadays about it. So yeah, I just don't promote it the way I used to. I still trade, I still buy some penny stocks here and there. I'll buy some futures here and there, and I'll trade a little bit here and there. And whenever the market goes into a buy signal, I'm always trying to buy. So it's not like I'm not trading to a degree, but it's just not the way it used to be for me. I don't sit behind the computer all day just begging for a setup. That's just not how I operate anymore. So as far as accounts go and blown accounts, don't feel bad. You can talk to me about it all day long if you want to, if it makes you feel better too. But I just always, trading is one thing, right? It's one small piece of your financial pyramid, right? And it should always be the smallest piece of your financial pyramid, because you can make fast and big money trading. There's no doubt about that. But it is very risky, very, especially because, well, I could go on for a long time about that, but trading is extremely, extremely risky. So when you just think of your life and as a financial pyramid, the last thing you want is your trading accounts to be the foundation of your pyramid, because then if you blow them up, then your pyramid falls over and it crumbles to the ground because you have no strong, just like your house, right? If your house, the concrete foundation of your house was poured poorly, And then your crawl space, doesn't have the proper drainage and blah, 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 then your crawl space could crumble, and then there goes your house and everything built on top of it. And that's exactly what you don't want, right? So, it's cool to trade, and it's okay to trade, and it's fun, but the reality is you really got to make sure you're doing it with a very, very small portion of your financial pyramid. That way you're stable and you never go belly up, if you will. And it's okay to not be rich trading. It's okay to not make a lot of money trading. It's okay to practice and do it. You know what I mean? So don't get caught up in everything you see on the internet. I was one of those kids. I was crushing it, then I stopped crushing it, right? And so taking the backside of that is really don't believe the things you see on the internet. Again, it's very challenging game. Best thing you can really do is build a nice strong financial pyramid, and if you want to mix a little bit of trading in here and there for some fun, maybe you pick up something that others don't, maybe it works for you and you crush it, but to be able to do it long term effectively, over and over and over and over and over, it becomes very challenging, and I'm the perfect example of that. No, I don't. We don't. Well, kind of, but not really. Like all of the day trading courses and stuff that I have, people who bought them and whatnot, they all still have access to them, but I don't advertise that anymore. It's not that the information's not good, but it's just, again, you can find a lot of that on the internet nowadays. And really, the only thing that we do charge for is just a subscription chat room that really is mainly run by my business partner, who, by the way, is a very exceptionally good trader. So that's why he has that role. But no, don't really do a whole lot of course stuff anymore. The subscription stuff that we do charge for does have videos. So it's like there is course material there, but it's really just so that you can be up to speed on the things we do in the chat room. So it's like less of course, but more of like get caught up to speed videos, so that when you're in the chat room with Brandon and or me, we're kind of still figuring out the streaming hours. But yeah, that you're not like confused. That's pretty much it. But our course, like, we don't really, I took all my courses offline, if you will. So yeah. So now just try to do my best to provide as much value for free, and we have a little paid stuff, but really it's just trying to do most stuff for free a little bit, and then we still have our business too. But yeah. Yeah, so you still have access to them. They're all there. I just don't advertise them for public use anymore, if you will. But yeah, Steph, too. Another thing is, like you just said, that you blew that account trying to buy this. You know, I, it's not going to make it any easier on you. But again, if we come into the market right, and we have to look at the system, right? So what does the system say to us? And it's not that it couldn't have worked, right? The market could have bottomed, and your long could have been just fine. But what do we know for sure? That when the market is over the SMA, we are long bias and not bearish. When the market is below the SMA, we can be counter long traders, but we are not swing long because the market is negative. Okay? Until it recovers, it's not a swing long. It's just a counter bounce back to resistance until it's swing long. So that would basically be my one suggestion there, is that you were taking a long position while the market was in a selling program, right? So you would have had to just got lucky that the people that control the market no longer wanted it to be in a selling program, and then they flipped it into a buying program. And then your long would have been amazing. You'd have been like, I'm a G, I'm doing it, I'm crushing it, right? And we all have those trades sometimes. But I would say the simplest thing that I can say about it is just you were simply getting long in a selling program. So the odds were just never in your favor to begin with in terms of holding the long. They can be in your favor if you're taking an oversold bounce and trading it in a short period, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, hour, 2 hours, or whatever. But to be buying and then holding long when in a selling program, that's risky. because you just ultimately have to have the market bottom and then go into an uptrend and then be accepted, right? Or else you're just still in the selling program. And then sometimes you wake up, you're like, oh, wow, the market has a huge gap down, right? It's like, well, I mean, that's typically, not typically, but it's more likely to happen in sell program. But anyway, so just keep that in mind next go at it. 849. Yeah, crushing. So we'll go back to, what is this? What am I doing? I don't even know. Who really knows? Nobody knows. Do 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 psh psh boo doo boo boo doo. What is my maybe? I don't know. Why is this thing so ridiculous? I don't know how Charles Schwab does their portfolio reporting, but it's just so out of whack. Like right now, it's saying my account's up 126%. Like that's not right. Maybe it's got to take. I think it's calculating contributions too. I'm like that just doesn't make sense. Interesting. So, value versus net contributions. Yeah, they must be. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing because I'm looking at the return on my Roth IRA and I'm like, that's just way higher than I know it is. So I think they're just taking some of my contributions and calculating it, which I don't know why you would do that. That seems really silly to me that you would calculate contributions as a gain under someone's portfolio and then make them do the math to reverse it. I don't know. That just beats me. Huh. Yeah, here's a smaller Roth IRA that I opened up this year because I was finally allowed to because of my income finally dropping. The law said I couldn't use Roth IRAs, so this was like the first year I was able to finally start putting money in a Roth IRA and have tax-free returns if I wanted to. But for the longest time, my income was too high, which isn't a bad thing, but they wouldn't allow me to do it. So this year is the first time I ever started using a Roth because I was able to. So I don't know, was it $5,000 or 4,400? So this is what I was talking about is like the return says it's 93%, but I know that's wrong. So it's gotta be the contributions or whatever, right? So, but I know it's beating the market this year. So I'm gonna do some math here in a second because this is just like I said, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm just trying not to. I mean, my account's there. You guys can't see the full number, so whatever. But yeah, I'll do that. I'll remove my contributions, but I think the account's up like 35% or something, and the market's up like 25. So again, this is just a cash account Roth IRA, no leverage, no margin, right? That I'll trade some penny stocks in here or there. I might swing the market on. So that's what I was talking about too. Is like when it comes to the market, really your objective is to hopefully beat the market. So I think, well, it says here, I don't know if that's entirely true, I'll have to double check, but it says the S&P 500 is up 25%. I'm going to do some math, but I think the last time, before this calculation got all goofy, it said I was beating the market, but we'll redo that here in a second. But yeah, like I said, like even this is just a small Roth IRA that I'll take minimal risk in and try to beat the market on, right? So who was it that I was just chatting to about this? Who was I just talking to? Was it Cat or maybe it was you? Yeah. But yeah, like this, I have fun in this account. Like this is just a small Roth IRA that I just don't, I don't take extreme risk in. I just try to beat the market in and play with it and have fun. That keeps me trading zero emotion, if you will. So that's another way you can have fun. Put put money in a Roth IRA, like that. So I mean, so far you've seen real estate portfolio, long term portfolio, little short term Roth IRA trading portfolio. Then there's futures. So again, you can put money in a bunch of different places and kind of play with it, if you will. So this Roth IRA, I mainly just do little penny stock trades, swing trade the market a little bit. This one doesn't do any options. This one doesn't do any futures, things like that. So this is kind of just that one little equity portfolio that I use. Then on top of the long-term stuff, you know. So it's fun. So like that's what I'm saying when you think about the financial pyramid, right? I'm not just sitting here putting all my money in one specific trading account, right, and just trying to leverage it up. I used to do that to a degree, not entirely, but I used to centralize more of my money in just one account and just try to go balls to the walls and grow it as big as I can. And then after realizing you can lose a lot of your money doing that, I was like, well, maybe I should get a little bit smarter on that. So that's what I did, and life's been a little bit better ever since, in a way. So, yeah. Yeah, I just don't understand why they do that. So, nonetheless. Whatever happened to CMPS? Did it do anything cool? Oh, wait, I can't see. Nope, CMPS just being a little turd burger so far. I don't know if anyone remembers this penny stock, but excuse me. We were looking at this one today just because, maybe it has potential, but as you can see, remember we talked about, I'm like, well, it started a breakout, and what did we say? We're like, but the risk is going to be 8%. So at the time, I think we saw it about here, and I'm like, the risk is back to where? The yellow. So that's about, it was back here. So you can see earlier, and some of you weren't online when we were doing this, but basically the market on this stock goes into an uptrend at the yellow. The yellow line is the back test of the uptrend. So when it was trading on this peak right there, and you go, I want to get long, it's like, well, you have an 8% risk back down if it doesn't just go up. And there is your loss. So far, about 7-something%. So that's a quick way you can kind of gauge some risk reward on some things. That's nice. Yeah. So, like I was saying, it was the first time I was ever able to use a Roth IRA, which was cool. So, yeah. Happy about that. Well, here, oh, whoa, where'd that go? Discord, come back, Poppy. Discord looks like my business partner Brandon, probably the best futures trader I've ever met personally. Done, let's see, 1005, so let's call it 1 2 3 4 5 5.5, yeah, about $5,000 a day there before market opens. So not bad for the bro, not bad for my friend Brandon. He's up 5 bands this morning before the market opens. He'll trade a variation of prop firms and his own accounts and whatnot. He's been kicked out of a lot of prop firms so far because they don't like him. He takes their money, so they end up kicking him out. Usually based on some of their rules, whatever their rules may be. We don't really know. Well, they just make up whatever rule and kick him out, essentially. So, So, anyways, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go grab a coffee. Yay! Yippee, everybody! Yippies! The market is so exciting today. What would really be crazy though is if we actually did a gap and then a McGo. So, well, anyways, I'm gonna rock and roll here. I'm gonna get ready to jump on a stream on our website now. So, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to manage all my streams right now. So when I know more, I'll let you guys know more. But just kind of basically keep looking at the channel for streams to pop up here and there. And when I figure out my set schedule, I will let you guys know. So cheers, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next video. I'll probably post a couple short videos a day, as I normally do. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.